It's day 4 of the FACEIT London Minors, live from Twickenham Stadium. The America's Minor is still yet to reach its dramatic conclusion and will return at 4 PM later today. But for now, we turn our attention eastward to the group stage of the CIS Minor, who will walk away with a spot at the major in September from the CIS Regionals. My friends, it's time to find out. My name is Parla and I am your desk host for the duration of this minor, and I'm joined by the wonderful James Bardolph and Matthew, also known as Maniac. I'm very excited to be with both of you, James, because you're not too often on a desk, and Matthew, you've just got back into this side of the scene.
Yeah, that's true. It's still all, I want to say new, but I've done a little bit before. But it's very exciting. You know, I get these little feelings in my belly. I'm very excited for the games.
This is great. I can do what I want. I can go where I want. Nobody can tell me what to do. So I'm on your desk. Nobody can stop me. I've gone mad with power. Yeah,
well, can't wait to see what action is about to unfold over the course of today. And for all of you at home, if you'd like to get involved in the conversation, use the hashtag FACEITMinor. You can also check out our Instagram, Facebook, and more. We're all over social media. Also, be sure to watch on YouTube Gaming, gaming.youtube.com. We are on different platforms, but over there, you have a chance to receive drops. Free loot, James. Can you tell us a bit about that, the FACEIT loot system? It's something that you guys have been pushing for a while. You've been rewarding many of our amazing community members at home.
Absolutely. Basically, if you go to your FACEIT account, you can integrate your FACEIT account with your YouTube account. So when you watch, you can be rewarded with skins such as Bisons, Battle Scarred, of course, and, well, maybe more Bisons as well. But apparently, you can also get enough points for a Negev. It's actually not skins, it's points we give away, but you can buy Bisons with those, also Negevs. And I know that's what people want, so I mean,
I can't think of anything I want more than a Bison and a Negev. Moving forward, let's start talking about Counter-Strike and take a look at Group A of this CIS Minor. Now, you might notice something rather interesting. It looks like a match has already happened. No, it's not. Namiga, one of our qualifiers here, unfortunately unable to make it due to visa issues, and so they were going to be the opponents for Hellraisers. Now they're not here, so Hellraisers get to buy and move straight forwards. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Pro100.
Prosto.
I've heard it's pronounced Prosto.
It's Prosto, baby.
And they are going up against PLINK, and that's in fact going to be our first game of the day. It's a shame about Namiga.
Yes, they're a team from Belarus. There's still work to be done as far as visas and esports go, and having some kind of recognition with the Home Office, which is, I was at a UK meeting recently, so it's something that we're all trying to push towards, but it's a long-term goal rather than a short-term goal, but hopefully we will get there eventually. So we're trying to build for the future, but they will be a casualty of this minor, unfortunately. Yeah,
James, you are a remarkable man. I'm not surprised that you're involved in government dealings and helping players out with visas. I think that's awesome.
Good, thank you very much. You know, we do our best. It's a team effort, though. It's not just me. It's the whole of FACEIT.
Indeed.
And other orgs in the UK. Odie's always there pushing the agendas for esports as well. So.
Exactly. And Matthew, how was your trip here from Switzerland, by the way, before we move forward?
I actually flew from Norway, and it was very nice. I just had a direct flight from Bergen, 2 hours, very luxury. The hotel is perfect, location looks really nice. Yeah, I'm pretty okay. I would say I'm satisfied at the moment.
Satisfied.
Satisfied.
Yes, we are coming live from Twickenham, and our hotel is here as well. Very comfortable, and we've been enjoying this extremely hot London weather. Moving forward, let's take a look at the schedule overall for the day, because to remind you all, no, we've already done that. We need
we've already done
that. Take a look at what we can expect from this Group A of the CIS Minors.
Hellraisers kick off Group A of the CIS Minor. With veteran in-game leader Angel, the skill and experience of Hellraisers may prove difficult for their Group A opposition to negotiate. PLINK are the second team to make up Group A. The side are attending with stand-in fates, but will Luke manage to continue the dominance he displayed throughout the minor qualification stage? Pro100 round off Group A of the CIS Minor. Taking down Simon and 5balls, skilled in-game leader Def proved the side's form. But will it be enough to take down their first opponent's PLINK?
Hi!
Still talk after being assaulted by Cadian yesterday.
Cadian yesterday accidentally hitting the microphone into her face. We don't propose or recommend violence to anyone of our cast, and Cadian, we're looking out for you.
I have proposed that she wear a motorcycle helmet, but I don't know if they've agreed in production. It might be hard for her to talk into the microphone, but at least she'd be safe. Maybe a high visibility jacket might do.
Maybe. Not,
send us your thoughts.
Not entirely sure. Either way.
Hashtag Freya Safety.
Exactly. Hashtag Freya Safety. Hashtag FACEIT Minor. Now let's start talking about this first matchup of the day. It's PLINK versus Pro100, Zeus's organisation from Na'Vi. And so that is an interesting story within itself, because Zeus is coming off a win at Cologne. And so that potentially could already be motivating the players on this team.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, hopefully. I don't know if they, I don't know if he's like the weeping trophy. You know, like in places like France, right? And they've got those like weeping, not trophy, weeping statues. And like, oh, it's a miracle, but actually it's just sewage or something. Not to say, there's no relation to the sewage. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm not
did it go in the right direction?
That,
moving swiftly on.
Yes.
This is why I'm a death baby. Moving swiftly on. It's about playing their own game. PLINK, which is actually a fighting game term, but I'm sure it's completely unrelated, have a lot to do here versus Prosto.
Yes, Matthew, looking at PLINK, the first player that stands out to me is FACEIT, who is standing in fact, for Darkside, and he could be a player to watch out for. He was briefly on HR, and I think he's still currently, like, officially playing for my friend's team, Boxer, Launder's team.
No, he is actually, and FACEIT has always been a little bit of an enigma. I think most people outside of CIS would think that he deserves a chance. He could probably play at the higher level than he is actually. So he's been traveling around, playing in different teams, and never really lived up to the expectations, I'd say. So this tournament could be a very good way for him to like make a statement and say, I'm still here, I can still play at the highest level. So definitely interesting to see how he performs in here. Yeah,
and we can see the guys on camera right now. We've got some smiles, some relaxed looks, and so presumably they're feeling pretty ready, and we've got some bicep kissing as well. According to HLTV, Jo is their highest rated player of the last 3 months. Is there anybody else that we should be looking out for, or should we be looking at the guy that's currently apparently in top form?
We need, well, Gio, we need the whole team to be in top form, because they are an underdog going into this match. I think they've lost their last 5 encounters with their opponent, so the whole team has to be on point. And it's good that they look relaxed at the moment, because I don't know, with the recent history, team versus team, you might be somewhat nervous going into this, but maybe they feel like they've got nothing to lose, which is a good mindset to have, if you will, rather than nervousness. Yes,
exactly. And also we have Spirit, also part of this CIS minor, and 2 of their former academy players are currently PLINK players, Luke and Romy. Isn't that right, Matthew?
Yeah, that is actually correct. And I think what is a very big characteristic of the CIS team is the fact that players are moving around. I mean, below, you know, Hellraisers and very established CIS teams, people are moving around, trying to find like the best combination they can have in the team. And a minor like this is a very good occasion to kind of test the waters for the team and see where they stand, how they do against better teams like Hellraisers. So that's like one of the things I really appreciate about the minors.
I have just had word in my ear from my producer that apparently one of the players for PLINK flew in from Canada this morning at 7 AM. Maybe that is FACEIT, considering he's playing on Boxer, Lawns is Canadian. I'm not sure which player it is, but it would make sense, right? And so,
what kind of immigration racket is Launders running over in Canada?
I'm not. Well, he's not even in Canada at the moment.
I know. He's exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where are your tunnels, Launders?
And so I'm interested to see how that could factor in, if there's any tiredness. Because what, right now we're 10:15. Let's assume that he landed in at Heathrow. It's about 30 minutes away from here. The guy's only been in the country for a couple hours and maybe just in the studio for an hour and a half. So
stop pounding that sugar, baby.
He arrived 20 minutes ago, I can confirm.
20 minutes ago?
I've not heard about a player arriving to a tournament match, let alone a minor, to qualify for a major qualifier 20 minutes before his match.
I've done worse than that. So when we had that...
Tell him, James, tell
Tyler,
us.
you will remember this. The Play It Cool event in Stockholm.
Yes.
I was basically awake for 24 hours. I got to my hotel and slept for maybe 20 minutes, which was probably the worst decision, and then went to that event, and I was absolutely wrecked. I was all over the shop, man. I had no sleep. I was bodied.
Bodied.
I was bodied before I even touched the laptop and mouse.
Okay, well, James, we'll have to see if it is FACEIT firstly and if he'll be following in a similar fashion to yourself. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully he can still perform. Moving forward, let's start focusing in on Pro 100. As established, this is Zeus's organization. He started earlier this... No, was it last year sometime? Either way, he established this organization, and they are a team looking to rise from Eastern Europe. And out of the recent games they've played against PLINK, they have been on top every single time, Matthew.
Yeah, that's right. They have a clear advantage in terms of a head-to-head against the PLINK, and I also think they are the most experienced team, so to say. Their core, that would be Def, Kenzor, and Flourish has been together for more than a year. Also, Philin, who is playing in different names, Aiden, I think, has been playing with them before he joined again.
He switched up his game
attack? Yeah, he was Philin before, and now it's Aiden or Aiden. So definitely a team that's... Aiden, is that?
More or less.
Identity crisis.
But yeah, there's definitely a team who has like an identity and have an idea how to play together. They have a map pool, more experience.
Gang.
So definitely an edge over PLINK in that regard.
Yeah, they recently came off a win versus a team called Gucci Squad. Does that mean that they are now Gucci? That's the question. That's the question. Those are the storylines we have to talk about going into this match.
Yes, I'm taking a look at their...
Are they Gucci Parlor?
Gucci Squad. Yeah, they did, and they've also beaten 5 balls. Yeah, the recent results do look positive for Pro Stone.
Why would you call your team 5 balls? Are you saying that the members of the team are balls? Like, what does that mean? What is the meaning of this? Is that like some kind of English thing going on in Eastern Europe?
Why have we opened on me? Anyway, all right, Matthew, you lost to Pro Stone at Assembly in Helsinki earlier this year, correct?
That was correct. That was a better way to put it. But
just the best of one. But tell us about that experience and maybe anything that you've taken away from that you could look into them showing again now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we faced them with LDLC at Assembly Winter. We played on Cobblestone, which tragically has really no impact there because Cobblestone is not in the map pool anymore. But they actually rolled on us, really. I remember, I think we went 8-7 as CT on Cobblestone. They destroyed us 8-1 straight away. And what I got from that is that their game plan is actually prepared. Like, if things go their way and they can do whatever they want to do in their plan, they can really like destroy you. I mean, we got destroyed. I think they were playing, they were organized, they were playing with rigor, and they knew what they were doing. So I had a good feeling for them, bad feeling for me because I was on the receiving end at the time. But yeah, definitely, they can definitely play, that's for sure, and I've lived it firsthand. Yeah,
well, as you've said, Matthew, we won't be able to see Cobblestone now because that's no longer in the pool. But we do have our veto up on screen to clarify which map will end up on. Train has come out first as a ban for Pro Stone, Dust 2 for PLINK. James, do you have any prediction before we get to
looking at the
final map?
Recent matches they have played, Pro Stone's opponent hasn't really got very far beyond 10 rounds in most maps. There was a Nuke which went to overtime, which Pro Stone won 22-18, so maybe they wanted to go in that direction. They've played Inferno twice. It was 16-8, 16-11 to the likes of Pro Stone. So from what we can tell, maybe Nuke would be the best idea to play Pro Stone 1. Indeed.
And I guess potentially as a map in a best of one, that could be... it's not something you see very regularly in best of one vetoes ending up.
Yeah, you need to be prepared. You need to come strapped for Nuke.
Yeah, so presumably both teams feel relatively comfortable on it. Matthew, I think this is slightly surprising. I mean,
it is.
Don't know their map pools specifically, but just in general terms in CS, you don't see Nuke too often in best of ones.
No, for sure. But I think the thing about best of one vetoes is that it usually ends on kind of a middle ground because teams have many occasions to ban the maps they are not comfortable on. But Nuke is a confusing choice, I would say, for 2 reasons. First, playing Nuke in a best of one can always be tricky because you are not lucky, you lose a knife round, or you start T, you have a bad start, that's it for you, you're done. You could probably switch with 13-2 and you have a really hard time coming back. And the second thing is, we have to realize one of the team here is playing with FACEIT, not with the full roster. Nuke is a very tactical map, mostly ST. If you want to go and grind rounds ST, you really need those tactics, you need those routines. And going into Nuke in a best of one with a pickup, with a fifth that's not usually yours, it's kind of a challenge.
Yeah, well, James and Matthew, we are pretty much ready to get this match underway. Any closing thoughts or predictions you'd like to share?
I think with the history, we have to go with Prosto. They have beaten him the last 4 times. Nuke was a close one, but how can you bet against Prosto? I'm not going to do it.
Matthew?
I agree with James. I think Prosto is the logical choice. I think the only thing that PLINK have going for them is no pressure. They can just play free and see what happens. They're here with the last, so to say. But yeah, Prosto should take it.
Thank you very much, guys. Now we are ready to get this first match of the CIS Minor underway. PLINK, and you'll miss it. Let's get our casters involved. Over to Prince Harry and Metus.
What was that?
That was just terrible. Parla, though, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Harry, this is Vince, and we're both British. Here's a compulsory. It's coming home. There we go. We got that out of the way. We're about to get into this one, Prosto versus PLINK. How you feeling, Vince?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, man. Honestly, coming into this game, I don't think neither of us know a huge amount about these teams, and a lot of people at home, I'm sure, don't either. But when you go off the stats, I agree with what the desk said. I think they should probably edge towards Prosto.
Well, I tell you what, I'm excited to see FACEIT playing inside of this roster. You know, he was looking like a promising talent when he moved into that Hellraisers roster initially. Now, of course, he plays for Team Boxer, as the desk kind of highlighted a couple of times. So I'm excited to see how he fares, despite being the stand-in. I think he's going to be someone to keep an eye on. We're already into this pistol round well and truly underway. Prosto over on that T side. The knife round did go the way of PLINK. So it's Gio, I want to call him, holding up close. He's going to fall, but Sphere up in the heavens does hop on down, and he might be enough to go ahead and find himself a little bit more. Sorry. As Avon and Def are left in a 2 versus 3 with that bomb down.
Oh, Ivan nearly gets timed out, but you're going to be able to recover and deliver the headshot to FACEIT. The stand-in, the replacement. 2-on-2 retake, and Red Hide is coming down from ramp. Going to be making some noise going into controller room, and Ivan's got a Molotov lined up for the bomb. So it is hard to see how PLINK can get this done. They don't have a kit, they don't have any utility under their belt either, and they've just lost both of their heads. So a decent start by Prosto.
Yeah, starting over on that T side. Going to be keen to get the pistol round under their belt. You know, getting up to a 3-0 start potentially is going to be worth its weight in gold on that least favorite side, especially, you know, coming into this being the favorite. I almost said the overdog, but that's just not a phrase that we ever use. And you know, for PLINK, this just means the standard 4-spy. Going to be Deagles almost across the board. Red Hide going to be the one exception to that rule, as he picks up the CZ. And early on, 3 players for Prosto going to be heading over here towards outside, and they have to be a little bit cautious because of all these Deags that have been brought up by PLINK.
Wasn't far off there. FACEIT so nearly taking the head. I think it was Ivan that was peeking. Flarich at the top of the silo. Going to be very weary of a Desert Eagle outside. And there's Luke. He's gone on to Flarich. So they have claimed the first kill. They were tempting and really teasing this for a few moments. Jo comes in with one of his own. It's gone horribly wrong for Prosto. They're in a 2-on-4.
This is somehow all falling apart for Prosto. 2 AKs left up. That's Def and Sphere. But these Deags tagging them down slowly. They almost letting this round slip through their fingers. And actually, I mean, keep an eye on I believe that's Luke over towards outside. Indeed it is. He's about to have Sphere come his way. I'm not entirely sure they know he's here, but the timing just gets the better of him, and that's an easy kill for Sphere. He's going to take that all day long, now leaving FACEIT's Romy and Red Hide left to try and claw themselves back into this round.
With just 40 seconds to go, they have evened the odds. It started very poor, but Sviat's gone in for a second, leaving 2 AKs against 2 Desert Eagles. Again, the lack of utility could come into play for the CTs, but they do have time on their side. Romy able to stop the bomb from being planted, goes in with a Desert Eagle, and PLINK are going to break the heart of Prosto. Their economy is in ruins.
Yeah, it most certainly is. They put everything into that round, and ultimately it is going to be the tale of forbidden love down inside of that A-bomb site. Romeo and Juliet, he comes up trumps. It's not love, though, he's looking to profess. Instead, these couple of D kills onto the remaining Prosto players. All tied up now. PLINK instantly finding success, and now this, you can see the 4-spy coming in for Prosto on your screens. 3 CZs, PT-50 for Flarich. Dev going to be on the MAC-10. There's head armor across the board for PLINK, so shouldn't be allowed to get too much done for them. But any kill he can get with it, worth $600. It's also a good run and gun weapon. But first they have to get past Luke with this scout. He's doing a lot of damage, and even with the no-scope, going to do that much more. And that makes it very easy for the stand, and FACEIT's going to up too with that AK. Some man advantage maintained here for PLINK.
Yeah, Luke not necessarily getting all applauded for the kills, but he tagged 3 players with scouts. That is so much damage, so much ADR into this round. 3 assists go his way. You can see his score right now. 1 kill, but 3 assists with the 4 deaths. And it should be pretty much a case of a formality now as to how long Prosto survive before they inevitably collapse. It's going to be Flarich last in with the P250. Does have some Kevlar, so maybe if you can take a weapon away from the CTs, this could get a little bit spicy, but it's not going to happen. Red Hide from the side will claim the frag, and PLINK do take the lead after losing the pistol.
See, the one thing that's kind of devastating for me is, you know, with all these names in the server bits, I don't really know how to make too many puns out of these names. It's pretty difficult. Like, they haven't made it easy for me, have they? But, you know, I'll try my hardest. I was going to try and say, you know, they've been able to scratch that Flarich, but maybe that's a bit tenuous. I don't know. It's just Glocks across the board, though, for Prost. They're not really going to have much to work with in this round. A chance as well for these MP9s on Red Hide and Luke to make some money. And, oh, Luke, he's going to love this. There is a lot of cash waiting on the other side of that door. They find Def outside. Luke gets a bit hungry for frags. In the end, it's going to be Jidem up 3. And, oh, no. Oh, don't keep feeding the beast. You can't do that. They nearly gave him another, but Jai is able to find 4. That's a 3rd round for PLINK. Now the buy comes in for Prosto. This is where stuff gets interesting.
Yeah, and with the knife kill, Ivan can afford an AWP and Kevlar, so that is quite a bit of money towards his AWP fund. That is going to mean that he's not quite as vulnerable as he would have been without the knife kill. Smoke and flash alongside it, so decent takeout, but PLINK should be able to start to get their CT side rolling. And Maniac discussed this on the desk. On T side, if you get a rough start, things can spiral out of control real fast. So this is a must-win round, I'd say, for Prosto.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you know, losing that anti-eco in their 2nd round, that's really going to come back to punish them potentially. They would have loved to have found a couple of rounds early on the back of the pistol. They've already taken control of outside though, quite commandingly so. FACEIT's going to manage himself 1, but players wrapping all around. They aren't able to topple him. He's on to his 2nd. He's going to keep on pushing. Might get even more done here.
And he will. That's going to be a 3K for FACEIT. Looking for a 4th and takes down Flarich. All too easy around that Prosto needed desperately. Going to slip through their fingers courtesy of Garage. And to make matters worse here, Harry, that's just 5 players potentially left alive in this round. Unless Sviat can take this away, but he's not. So that's so much money in the back pocket of the CTs. They're building nicely now.
And moving into a double up setup for free. FACEIT picks it up off the body of Ivan early on. FACEIT wasn't usually an AWPer, if I recall, back in Hellraisers. But not sure how he's been finding things over in Team Box. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with it. As it looks like he's planning to take that over towards ramp, you would imagine. He's going to head here along with Red Hide early on. But the A-bomb site about to be tested. Everyone here from Prosto stacked up with these pistols. A little bit of armor to work with. 2 flashbangs to try and get them into the site. And they could always go for a vent drop in this scenario. You have the smoke to drop close to the doors. But with how they're set up right now, it looks like with, you know, players waiting over by hut, they might just try securing this A-bomb site.
Yeah, with just the smoke and 2 flashes, their options really are scarce. Throwing the flashes into A, so they're going to be giving the green light on this hit, but it's being repelled by Jayu all alone. 4 kills, and similar to the last round, 1 player just taking away from the terrorists. Not able to get the ace. Not really that important, though. PLINK did lose 2 players. That's a little bit worse than the last round, but again, you can see the amount of money that they're rolling in. Over 10K for FACEIT. Romy just below that. Red Hide's over 10K. Looking pretty damn good for the CTs.
Yeah, I mean, you know, 8 kills coming from 2 different players in you know, the last 2 rounds. So really, it's been a couple of individual performances here for PLINK that have seen them have success early on. This time, they're Prosto coming in with the buy, have AKs across the board. Couple of players over here outside. Going to get challenged by Luke, who has the AWP out for PLINK. Smoke's down, but that is a very large gap to leave. You can't afford to do this when you have the AWP waiting outside, and there we go. They will get punished for it. Now Ivan turns his attention back outside. I mean, outside just feels like a death trap right now, so they're somewhat forced. Their hands are tied as they make their way down towards this B-bomb site. Jio even going to peek out and find 1 more, and right now Prosto getting picked limb from limb as Jio continues to deliver. It's Fiat and Def left in a 2v3.
have both claimed the kill this round, so maybe they're going to strike while the iron is hot, but considering that the two of them are pretty separated, it's asking so much. Def's by himself, does have the bomb under his control and full health with a bit of utility. So there is a way back in, but FACEIT needs to come down from ramp side, and Redhide's there. He's laid, he's waiting. There are 2 AWPs though, potentially. If the bomb does get planted, 2 AWPs isn't ideal to retake with, especially on a map like Nuke. But Fate's AWP is in prime position to strike, and strike it shall, leaving Def, the aforementioned bomb carrier, all alone. And Harry, it doesn't look good for him.
No, it certainly does not. 1v3. This is not an easy spot to be in. He's able to get out into that B bomb site, but it's the man up on the rafters right above him now that could make all the difference. And spraying through the MP9. Oh, no. What's going on? You know it's a James Barlow flan when everyone's just getting ridiculous knife kills and we're only 7 rounds into the game. You know, they've been watching some, I forgot what his username is whenever he plays, like JZFB demos. You know, getting them knife kills in for PLINK, and that's a 6th round on the board. So a very, very good start here from the PLINK boys. And that's exactly what they needed. Coming into this, you know, everyone's kind of bigging up Prosto consistently online and on LAN, I think even. They've been beating them in head-to-heads. But PLINK looking good right now early on their CT side of Nuke.
Well, they certainly are. Remember, they started off with a loss. This all came off the back of losing the pistol, so makes you think what could have happened if they won that pistols. FACEIT very nearly gets a free frag going his way. Damage has been inflicted on both teams. Nades mainly onto FACEIT, he's down to 20, but JO's down to 36 himself. And again, outside seems to be where the terrorists want to push. This time they don't have any gaps in the smoke. This time they're making the most of that, and Luke has to respect this. He has to back away.
Yeah, you can see he's falling all the way back in towards CT spawn, and they are going to start to pressure him, pushing towards him now. And he stands here alone. If you take a look up on the minimap in the top left, no one really nearby to help out. So Luke, he has to show that he's earned that 1 in his name by being #1 now. 2 players outside of CT putting the pressure onto him. Lucky enough for him, this is a very nice bit of a shooting gallery to have with the AWP if they do decide to pressure any further. And Luke spots another head. Flash is still raining through. They know they have him isolated here. They're trying to pick it up, but Ivan just offers that kill to him. Fate's going to find one more down towards the ramp room, and somehow Prosto, they've given away this this ground they had towards outside.
As main matters worse, they've only got 30 seconds. They've got to get on the site right here, right now, and this is where the likes of JU can really come into play. Behind the box, he can bide his time and wait. Fortunately for Prosto, they're planting behind the site, so he can't stop it. But if Def peeks again, it could be to his demise. Molotov out, somehow gets the kill, even though there's a Molotov burning him to a crisp. But still a 4-on-2 falls the way of the CTs, and FACEIT in control room is about to get Molotoved and smoked out of position. There's not much he can do now, especially with that 20 health.
Well, Flarich going to help him out, finds one more, 2 versus 3. And they do manage to find Flarich now. It's FACEIT, engines revving, the FACEIT 500 players coming his way, but Rommy's going to find him. They win that fight out pretty convincingly so in the retake. And PLINK going to find themselves a 7th round. They keep the double up set up moving forward. Prosto, you have to question. I mean, they had a lot of control towards that side. They were very hung up on trying to find that frag to Luke down in CT. You saw the idea, but I mean, PLINK had so much time, so much information. You didn't even have anyone watching the push in through radio. So the guys over on the side of PLINK had so much ground to work with in response to Prosto taking outside. And now it's back to the drawing board here for the favorites, really. Prosto with rifles across the board, going to try and take outside control with 1 man early on. That's Flarich. The rest of the guys looking to try and go for a push in towards this A-bomb site.
They're going to charge right in. Romy hears it from a mile away. Going to be able to call. The rest of the team is there. Lots of damage inflicted onto Ivan, who's been finished off from the CZ, the sidearm of Luke, who then goes down himself. It's even trades, but the bomb's dropped out on A. It is the fastest that we've really seen Prosto, so even though things have stalled a little bit, it's not down to that sort of 20-second mark that we've seen prior. They can still retrieve this and salvage it, but Flarich has been decimated, leaving Def 1-on-2. He knows who one of the players are, but it's that second player that's really causing him an issue, and now he's throwing the Molotov into heaven. His position has been compromised.
Oh, there they are. He's discovered it. The ruse is up, and Redhide going to go and finish things off. And an 8th round now for PLINK. Things look a little bit dire. Well, this is a CT-sided map, and you would expect, you know, pretty heavily CT-favored scoreline. You feel like if it continues in this fashion, if you kind of allow PLINK to maybe reach like 13 rounds, at that point it all hangs on a pistol, and those can be very, wild card rounds anyway. It's not a nice scenario to be in if you are Pro100, especially now. I mean, you see like the money's pretty broken despite being an 8-round loss streak. They've gone for the partial. I kind of like that, though. It's going to give them that much more utility to work with in the next round. It can be quite tempting, just to keep rallying out force buys over and over again, but they've been a bit more measured here. Going for the partials. Fiat's gone for the Galil. Other than that, it is just pistols with a tiny bit of utility to work with. They want to try and take control of the ramp room, but Redhide might have something to say about that, as he does lie in wait.
So with a Galil, as you say, I mean, they've got full round loss bonus as well, so it would afford 4 of them a pretty damn good buy, and then Sviat can come in with like a UMP, maybe even another Galil purchase, depending on how this round goes. So I can totally get behind this buy. Redhide, though, the off angle on top of the crate, not really where you'd expect player to come in. That smoke is going to take away some of the vision, but Luke's still able to pierce ahead. And as Def trying to wrap around from outside gets found and fragged, and Luke's on for 2 already. The bomb plant will be yielded, but again, it's another 2-on-4 with no utility for the T's, and they haven't been successful so far. I don't see that's going to change right now.
Oh, you got to admire the confidence there from Ivan. He does manage to get by, but yeah, I mean, 4v2 in this retake. You imagine PLINK should get this one back under wraps. Double AWP is going to make things a little more trickier. Oh, Ivan's been spotted up here on the rafters. They go rushing in, and now that leaves Flarich. 1v4, does manage to find the first and a second as well, but Luke's there to trade things out straight away. Both the AWPs stay up. And the hat-trick on the board for Luke. Doing his best Harry Cade impression. That is going to be PLINK fighting their 9th round, though. And right now, this is a very convincing CT side timeout called in, and I think justifiably so. Coming into this, winning the pistol, and then going, 9-1 down, that is really not what you imagine the aforementioned favourites being. So, maybe a chance to make sure everyone's on the same page, switch things up, try something new. We might see something a little bit faster, perhaps, from Pro100, although their faster plays haven't really been working. We've only seen it a few times now. They rushed in towards that A-bomb site, I think twice so far, and they've been mowed down pretty much every time.
Yeah, we were discussing before about how FACEIT is a step in, and is that going to be an issue? Well, clearly not. He's 12 kills and 1 death. The guy's doing just fine. He's holding it down, no problems. You've got JO on 15 and 7. Everybody, of course, fragging out, as you'd expect with a scoreline like this, and everybody also pretty damn healthy in terms of funds. I mean, the lowest amount they have is Romy with 5.4k. Everybody else is like mid $8,000 to $10,000. So they're going to be able to buy for another round or two. It's not going to get easy anytime soon for Pro100.
That's a pretty bitter pill to swallow as well. Now, Ivan's got the AWP in this round at least. That could provide them with some sweet relief. They seem to think they could take solace in this outside play, but I feel like Luke might have something to say about that as they run amok in his crosshair. He doesn't manage to find anything the first time round. Certainly won't miss the second, but then there's Def there to trade. Perhaps Luke getting a little bit too big for his boots outside. As the Sheriff has been dealt with. Redhide able to find the first, but I don't think he's ready for Def to be this close.
But intelligently backs away. He gets his kill, puts his team in the advantage, goes back into a safe spot, and now Def, it's down to him. He's got to try and make a play out of nothing. So PLINK, I definitely respect that they're getting the kills and they're making the most of it, but Redhide not realizing that Def is up there, perched outside of heaven, will be able to strike and get himself a kill. Did lose a lot of health, though, considering that he had the advantage. He's down to just 11, so this round is definitely still up for debate.
Gonna get made that much worse as well. They lose the bomb up in the heavens. They go running by Gio into that crossfire between him and Romy. I mean, that round felt like it was almost over. The bomb going down up in heaven would have been a real pain to try and retrieve. I think they had, what, about 30 seconds left on the clock, so time was working against them as well. I'm not even sure you would have had the time to run back around and grab it, but regardless, a 10th round for PLINK. Pro100 really struggling right now, not looking like the favourites who'd built them up to be. Definitely not the debut they were hoping for. Especially if that whole, Fate's arriving here from Canada, being in the at the arena for what, 20 minutes? I think they said it certainly doesn't look like it right now. This should be the new routine for him. He's 12 and 1, as you say. So he's dispelling the myth that is jet lag. It's really not a myth, though. That's my excuse for so much stuff, Vince. I can't let him take that away from me.
No, he's definitely legit when you're feeling it, for sure. But, I mean, the downside, too, is for both teams, it doesn't get any easier after this. They're against Hellraisers. Like, Hellraiser's also in this group, and they're the firm favourites to just outright run away with this minor. To add matters into an even worse perspective, Prosto have lost 3 players right off the bat. Minute to play with. Bomb gets sprawled out in Decon, and Redhide did spot Flaric. Romy will do the rest. Sviat, last player left against 4. They've all got a kill each. I'd like to see that symmetry, but who's going to take that equality and flush it down the toilet? Because I just don't see how Sviat's getting it done. It's going to be Redhide. So it goes from bad to worse. I mean, what do you even say about this, Harry? Prosto have been getting absolutely wrecked.
They certainly have. I mean, they haven't been able to do anything that works out for them at this point. I mean, you know, right now, we have so many players stepping up over on the side of PLINK. You know, Gio top of the board, FACEIT there just behind him. Of course, that is the stand-in, and you know, someone who just arrived. We mentioned how that might affect them, but right now, I mean, I think it's looking good for them. He's their second highest performing player. Of course, you know, coming from Hellraisers, he's definitely had a chance to perform on bigger stages than the rest of the guys in this team, so that was why it was quite an interesting substitute to make. I think that's not one that PLINK are going to be too disappointed with, in all honesty. And, you know, I mean, if they do manage to beat Prosto, at least we kind of get like an interesting storyline for the next game, in the sense that you have FACEIT versus Hellraisers, right? That's what it would be. And, of course, he played in that team. They played at the Star Series event in Shanghai, where I think they came 3rd or 4th. So, and that was kind of one of his big debut events, and he looked really good there. That's going to be an interesting one, but you can leave that, you know, we can cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now, Prosto are going to be going for this force buy once again. 2 UMPs and 3 AKs to work with. Not going to leave them with too much in this round. You can see most of the utility on those UMP players, so you really can't afford to let them go down. Can't play as running gunners, perhaps you would like. They're going to get control of ramp room for free, though, and this is the first time PLINK have really given up an area of the map without taking a fight there early on.
That's very true. Typically, Prosto would have lost a player or 2 at this stage, but in a more deep, passive, defensive angle, Redhide puts down 3 players, had no right to get 3 from there, and he may even survive. Prosto after a timeout. Come on, dude. What's going on?
Especially because, you know, I'm big in that. I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, they've got ramp from there. This is the most progress they've made without losing anybody. And you know, just as you said, normally they've lost a player by now. Redhide just goes ahead and takes 3. So it's like, oh, they're one worse than that actually, Vince. But yeah, Flaric in a 1v4. He has been able to find the first, and he's someone who I think, you know, has showcased a decent bit of talent within this Prosto roster in the past, but he goes blow for blow with FACEIT and is able to win that fight out as well. Now 12 HP, 1 shot away from certain death. Bomb down over there towards ramp as well. That's going to be the real issue for him. 24 seconds on that clock. I think a save's going to have to come in. And what a grueling call to have to make. What's going to be, you know, your 12-1 down scoreline. And you have to run away with just an AK in your hands.
Certainly one of the more painful decisions that you'll have to make. And, well, he just has to sit there and hope for the best. Now, worst case would be someone pushes him, but I don't see any reason for PLINK to do that. Just keep your weapons. They've got an AK-47, which, of course, is massive when it's in the CT hands, especially on Nuke. There's a lot of one-tap headshot angles, actually, on this map. So you definitely want to keep that for Luke, who I'm sure will drop it and pick up an AWP, as he's been doing time and time again. There we have it. And yeah, I mean, even in a round where you think, okay, this is your chance, Prosto. This is your chance to get a second round. Their first round, if you've just joined us, by the way, was the pistol. They haven't won a single rifle round. They've been destroyed after taking a 1-0 lead. This is a round you thought, no. Another huge wall blocked, and now their buy is pretty shocking.
Yeah, this is certainly not where you'd want to be. They're going to try and make their way through vents, and actually Sviat has. He's all the way down in B. I'm not sure they have the biggest idea that he's here. So this man over here on ramp, that's going to be Redhide. He's in a spot of trouble. There's Sviat to find the frag, and this is the round open up. That's the difference maker. You see Luke getting burnt down. FATE's going to go ahead and take the fight on Ivan outside. So they've given up that man advantage that they had. Sviat being the bodyguard inside of this B-bomb site, still locking it down. The bomb's going to go through. It's going to be 3 versus 4 in the afterplant here, but this is probably one of the best chances for a round Prosto have had in quite some time, and it's all on the back of that early play from Sviat. He's still waiting for the push in from Secret. While Jayo's there, who's going to win this stalemate right now?
That could be the determining factor. If Jayo wins this, the round's back on. He hasn't. And now surely this is where Prosto claim their second round. Maybe they can get 3. 12-3 may not be good enough, but it gives them something to play with. They've still got to get across the finish line in this one, though. Romy's got in for a frag. Flaric needs to hold down the fort. He doesn't necessarily need to get kills. He just has to stay alive so they can establish some kind of a crossfire. He's gone down 2. Prosto, not like this! Oh my god, that was so close to being defused as well. But they've got it done.
Oh my goodness. That is, yeah, I mean, you can see the PLINK guys, right? Like, they lose the round, but they're still smiling, they're having a laugh, everyone was kind of high-fiving each other. You know, I mean, you've lost the round, right? But for a start, everyone from Prosto dies, so their money is going to be in dire straits at this point. You know, I mean, they're close to being... the reset doesn't matter. So they've invested everything into this round, but still, like, the buy is pretty terrible, all things considered, especially on Nuke. You have 3 smokes, a couple of flashbangs here and there. You really have to go for a fast play, and that's exactly what they do. They found the first frag here on the Gyro. Robbie's going to fall as well. Fate's going to go running through the smoke to his demise, and actually PLINK, they've let this round completely elude them. Prosto going to be able to find 3 at the very end of the half. Which, you know, you can always look at as a recovery, but it might be too little too late, it feels like. The pistol round is going to be the real determining factor here for me. If PLINK pick that up and it goes 15-3, I don't, you know, they win the anti-ecos as well, something that Prosto couldn't do. I don't see any room for Prosto to get back into that at that point in time. You have to go, what, 12 rounds in a row without dropping anything to force OT? So this pistol round is absolutely massive right now.
I think this is one of the reasons why you don't see Nuke that often in best of ones, because it can be such a punishing map.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of maps, say like Mirage or Cache, lend themselves to quite a lot closer scorelines. So if you just lose a couple rounds, you don't get wrecked off it. Kenzorka, though, is doing super damage with the CZ, able to get 2. The rest of the players will fall down, and so we're not going to get into that 15-3 scoreline, Harry. Maybe this game is still alive and well just yet, with that second pistol going to Pro. So they've got to make this work, though. We saw what happened in the first half. Make sure you get the subsequent rounds, please.
Yeah, history definitely cannot repeat itself. That was a nice little bit of surfing to get Kenzor there that much faster. Of course, Death up in the heavens, having a good time of things. So building a little bit of confidence, at least, on their CT side, which is definitely the side you'd want to start to build it up on. That's sort of the one thing with Nuke, you know, you can never count a team out, really, no matter what that scoreline starts to show. But, oh my goodness, maybe you can when FACEIT is just clicking on heads outside, making it look easy. Oh no. Come on, not again. You can't win the pistol and then lose the anti-eco for the second time. On your CT side of Nuke of all times, it is just FACEIT and Kenzor left, and what a task they've been left of reclaiming. Kenzor going to try and take the push towards outside here. And there's 2 players lying in wait. FACEIT even wrapping around, but there's a man up above him, and I'm not sure he has any idea what's going on outside right now. They're trying to force the fight here, but it doesn't feel like a fight they have to take. Now that Rommy's up in heaven, I don't see a way of winning this round for Prosto unless Kenzor has a massive performance, but there's Rommy from the heavens, but this man's certainly not an angel. If anything, he's the polar opposite right now for Prosto. FACEIT left in a 1v3. And what do you even do? Do you save? Do you try and go for it in the 1v3? Every outcome just feels like it's going to be a losing battle. You got to pick your poison, and I think he's decided to save here outside. He's walking around, but I don't see a world in which he does this. He does have a kit at least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's got enough time to completely get rid of everyone on the site and then get the defuse too. It's going to be entry frags back onto the site. I think he was looking for exits, maybe to pick up an AK-47 or something, but yeah, I feel like overall, you probably, if you're on his team, you're saying save. Like, having a FAMAS, they're going to have to force buy now anyway, so having a rifle as opposed to basically pistols, that's always going to be an upgrade. So I don't really understand that play overall. I've got to say, I don't think the risk was worth it to maybe pick up an AK. Yeah,
I mean, definitely as well, you know, it would have had the loss bonus as a result, so you can then look to get a little bit of utility around it, or maybe drop some pistols over to the rest of your team and kind of redistribute that income back out. But yeah, now, it felt like one of those moments, you know, like it happens, you know, even in like matchmaking, you think about everyone's telling you to save. You know you should save, but you're staying close enough by. So if it's like, oh, look, but I found a kill, guys. Now I could go for it in the 1v2. But it really doesn't pan out for him. And, well, now, PLINK here with a very good shot of closing this game out. They're going to be up against this force buy from Prosto, which, as we mentioned, lacking the rifles, relying on the Deegs and CZs of the rest of the gang. FACEIT going to be waiting outside. The rest of the guys are over in CT. You can see Ivan's there. FACEIT as well waiting down towards the ramp. They could have a pretty quick rotation here, all things considered. But you're relying on someone to win this opening fight. No one really in a spot to trade with FACEIT, and actually he spotted Luke. No one's keeping an eye on this. FACEIT going to be able to find the opener. There we go. Frag goes his way, and now he looks to try and exit from outside. Won't be picked up just yet on the trade. So the man of FACEIT is going to be secured by Prosto early on.
I do like that patient play by Flourish, though. I think he was hoping that he saw a second player go in there so he get 2 and call out for the rest of his team. But Romy on top of main is going to strike. And now with 30 seconds left, PLINK have got to get a move on. This doesn't give them much room for error. If they go down into ramp and lose 1 or 2 plays, that's the round done. So Prosto are in with a chance. FACEIT's now going to push his way up ramp, and he's going to find information, but it's going to be at the cost of his life. And maybe there is now a chance to get back in this round for the T's. Def is the last line of defense, and he is currently positioned on the doors, but he's been picked out from behind from Romy, and the remaining 2 straggling CTs from Vent. They can't stop the plant, and now on a retake, this is asking so much, and Redhide continues to impress. His spray transfer is on point. 14-4 Prosto. They're just pretty much screwed at this point, Harry. There's no sugarcoating.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way, doesn't it? I mean, Redhide as well, yeah, you bring him up, right? Might not be fragging the hardest on the team. I think he's 3rd right now. He is 16-9. But he's had so many of these rounds where he's in like these unwinnable situations. He's 1v3, anchoring down a bomb site over on their CT side or holding off rotations. And he just lands like some inexplicable, spray transfer between 2 people. He's looked absolutely fantastic. If he can keep this form up, then that's going to be, what PLINK need to go far here. And, well, you can see the force spike coming in for Prosto. You kind of, you have to pick your poison at this point in time. Do you go for 11 rounds straight to force OT, or do you try and win it now? They've gone to try and win it now, and they've already lost Kenzor early on. So, FACEIT's even going to be tested. He's the one man with a rifle over here towards ramp. And aptly named as well. It is going to be an uphill battle. Near on vertical here for Prosto in this round. Not expecting much from them. But maybe they can surprise us.
And PLINK, again, similar to the round previously, playing it quite slow. It's sort of patient, passive play. Now Gio's going to get some action, sprays down 2, runs out of bullets. It's going to cost him his life, but it doesn't matter. The damage has already been inflicted. Prosto already on the ropes. They're shaking, they're wobbling, and PLINK very close to landing the KO shot now. They've got 11 map points. Well, match points too. And of course, next up, they will be spotting themselves Hellraisers if they do convert one of these, which you assume they will, plus Prosto's economy's in the bin. So 2 UMPs, a few pistols, that's it.
Yeah, that is a dismal buy, right? The one that has to try and start the 11-round consecutive comeback for Prosto is one that, you really don't anticipate to do very much. A Deeg here and there, 2 UMPs, they don't really have much to work with. They're going to try going aggressive, and in doing so, they meet their fate, or rather their fates, as he drops 2. Over here towards the ramp room. Kenzor and a Def left inside of A. You can't spell defuse without Def, so maybe he's looking to try and find a round here for them. But you're going to be looking at these Deeg players to really do something just unreal. And as they get dispatched of 1 by 1, it all falls on a Flaric. And yeah, I tried to give that one over to you, hoping he could pull off something sick in the clutch, and it just does not happen, does it? 16-4, PLINK going to be closing up this first map. We've already had our first of the upsets today. Maybe there's going to be a few more to follow, Vince.
It's possible, but I think when you look at Hellraisers up next, I just can't see how they don't brisk through this without even losing a map. The thing is, though, and we were talking to Maniac about this earlier, all the pressure's on Hellraisers. So when it comes to them playing, is that going to be something back in their mind? Are we going to see PLINK, who's just come off a really solid performance there? 16-4, that's no joke. These guys looked incredibly good. Yeah, Prosto had their issues, of course, but you can only beat what's against you, and I've got to say, PLINK were very impressive to me. Yeah,
they certainly were, and you kind of see the impact of having FACEIT, someone with a lot of experience coming into this now, how he's influencing them, even as a stand-in, right? He looked very, very good. It seemed like he was slotting in well, and that's something I think they could use to their advantage. They have someone with a lot of fragging power who they could just be like, right, you can just go here, you can put up some numbers for us, and it all seemed like it was working out quite well. So, I think if any team was going to go toe-to-toe with Hellraisers early on, it would be these guys. They're the ones who I want to see up against them. And also we get that lovely storyline of FACEIT versus his old team. That's going to be nice to see as well.
Yeah, plus, of course, because we've had Nemiga dropped out because of visa issues, it does mean that Hellraisers get 1 less game.
Yeah.
So now PLINK have got their warm-up. They know what the stage is like. They've got everything comfortable. Hellraisers coming in, is that going to be an issue? Is that going to be something to watch out for? Because obviously, best of 1, anything can happen.
Yeah, well, you and I can theorize it all we like, but I tell you someone who can go down onto the floor and talk to him. It's going to be Freya with an interview with the PLINK guys.
Thank you, guys. I am here with everybody from PLINK, it looks like. So how are you feeling after that win? It was a pretty confidence win for us. I don't think it was like so hard. We feel the power from the second round already when we won the first round. So
I was going to say, you guys had a great CT side after that force in the second round. What enabled that strong performance?
I will say again that only confidence in our aim. That's all.
Yeah, you guys are definitely the underdogs coming into this. Has this given you more confidence going forward?
Yeah, we have nothing to lose. I think no one is hoping that we will make it, but we will show our best.
So your stand-in FACEIT, I think I'm saying that right, he only flew in this morning. So did you guys have much chance to practice, or was it a bit touch and go?
Actually, we were speaking like first time with him, even in TeamSpeak. We didn't see him before. We didn't play with him before, but we already like him. He's playing really...
So Maniac said on the desk that Nuke can be quite a tricky map for best of ones, especially with a stand-in. What was your thought process behind the veto?
Like our guy who didn't came in the minor, he was playing like the role like freestyle player. So we put FaZe on freestyle role, like he can do whatever he wants, and it worked.
Yeah, he had a really solid performance. Was it just his style that brought this out, or was it the whole team in general?
It was his style. Like he's doing something crazy, and we're doing with him, so it works.
So now you guys go up against Hellraisers, if I'm correct. How are you guys preparing for this?
We don't prepare. We just play the same. We don't change anything.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you guys, and congratulations on your win. We're going to head back over to Parla and the desk.
Thanks, Freya. Some great insight there brought out by her from the guys on PLINK. And, you know, let's clarify again, and as she so rightly asked, about Nuke and why this was left in the best of one. Let's look at the details in slightly more close up. So, of the 5 times Pro100 have played PLINK, the toughest time for them was on Nuke. If you look at the maps that PLINK are okay at, and given that they haven't played it much, one of them, looking at the statistics, seems to be Nuke. And also, as we established in general on the desk, and Matthew brought up, and James, you spoke on as well,
I did speak.
Nuke in a best of one is risky. Look, if you start off and you're not strong on the CT side, maybe you can bounce back. If you start from the T side and you get off to a rough start, or if you win the first round and you get your economy broken, it's going to be extremely hard to get back into the match. It seems like this overall choice of leaving Nuke in the veto by Prosto was maybe misguided.
No, I agree. I think they probably accepted to play Nuke thinking we have more experience together, we have more routine, we have the tactical background to actually bounce back if things go to hell. But it wasn't the case, and I think they would probably regret going for Nuke in the best of one.
They got that, like, hand in the gut, just gah! They got absolutely annihilated.
We're talking Mortal Kombat fatality levels?
Yeah, they got like some Quan Chi, take the leg off, beat them with it. All kinds of madness going on.
Yeah.
That was brutal. They did what they could. It was interesting, the smokes they would use outside, a different variation to the normal wall of smokes you did, but there was one round where they tried to push a CT, the sniper, who was all the way back in CT spawn, but they couldn't. It's such a hard angle to actually push it all the way because he can just re-peek and re-peek. So they kind of got stuck, and then they couldn't push. They tried to push into hell, got picked off, and all the time they're trying, they just like in this weird position outside. Like, what do we do now? The CT's able to reposition, still have good map control. That's just one round, man. Most of the rounds after like round 5, let's say, the CT side had between $60,000 to $80,000 every round in terms of equipment held and money in the back. So
in the back pocket.
Yeah, so that's like a really hard situation for those Ts to deal with, man. Getting in that CT side, I mean, we spoke about it, right? The knife was pretty crucial in this best of one.
No, yeah, the knife was crucial, and I think also the pistols were crucial. And for Prosto, when you look at this game and you actually realize you won both pistols and you got to reset both times,
yeah,
that can't bode well for the game. I mean,
Matthew, let's talk about a round that you wanted to highlight specifically and get it up on screen for everybody at home so they can see exactly the context that you're referring to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this round was extremely interesting and important. So this is the first buy round, the first round that actually PLINK and Prosto can both afford to have weapons. And what the Ts are going for is basically what I consider a very tactical round. So they They use the wall of smoke, which is pretty usual, but what they do is different from the usual. Then they smoke under the ladder, under the main, and they're trying to play out of the yard. So this is something that goes really outside the box, and this is a round that's supposed to confuse your enemy. But the problem is FACEIT, who in the interview they talked about like very freestyle, huge. He went absolutely crazy, killed everyone, and the problem is this round is very hard to like debrief if you're Pro100. You think we used maybe one of our best tactic, and he just went out and killed us all. So I think this was very, very important for the rest of the game, because as we were talking about in the green room, when you go with a very tactical playstyle and it doesn't work at the end, you become more and more predictable each round, because the CT, they can just deduct what you're gonna do. Okay, they smoked outside, but they went for yard. Next round, they're probably gonna smoke and go down, which they did, and PLINK were ready for that. So I think would FACEIT not go for these crazy 4 kills, and Pro100 would actually win this round that I thought was well produced and well executed, maybe we go to a different half.
Nonetheless, I think even if he hadn't got the 4 kills, maybe if he just got 1 or even 2, it was still like a great showing from him, and that round seemed to be relatively under control from the PLINK guys. Now, let's take a look at the updated bracket and see exactly where that puts us. Remember, Namiga are not no longer here. They're just not at the tournament. They haven't been able to attend, meaning Hellraiser got a bye automatically into the next round, where they will play PLINK, who just beat Pro100. And Pro100 also get a bye in that lower bracket, because they won't have to play Namiga, who had an imaginary loss to Hellraiser. So Pro100 will either rematch PLINK or play against Hellraisers. Pro100, sorry. So is Sto 100 in Russian?
No, it's Pro100.
I think so.
Yeah, what? Does Sto mean what?
Oh, I thought you were saying it's Sto 100 instead of Pro100. I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Come on, man. We've got to respect the peoples out there. Yeah.
Everybody at home, do not forget we have some awesome giveaways going on, as well as drops throughout the course of our minors. All you need to do is head on over to faceitmajor.com/giveaway. Get involved and have some fun. Now, let's head to a short break before we get that second match of the day going and see Pro100 square off against the Hellraisers.